Chucky was power, Chucky was rough. All politicians respected this Calypsonian, who always seemed to look out for the poor man. But since Daphne Philip brainwashed the brother and make Chucky director of culture, since he get big position, he start acting strange. It's amazing how people could change. As they get in power, their plans rearrange. It's amazing how people could change. You're bound to agree. It's lies we're running this whole country. Look at Chucky boil right down like Bachi.
Lies we're running this whole country.
I took time off and thought about man, unassuming, hard to understand. One day man could peep up the ladder, next day man could be the prime minister. Man to the basic, callous and sly. If God was on earth, man made God cry. When I hear we send Peter did to Christ, man does appear good, but man not nice. A man who used to fight to get criminals free, today that same man preaching righteousness to we. Check most of the cases that Ramesh won. State witness, boom boom. That's what the case done. But Ramesh big like Tarzan, now swinging on vine, telling you execution in record time. Baka say he promised him the deed for the land. Soon as Baka helped him win election, but after election Ramesh start moving strange. It's amazing how people could change. As they get in power, their plans rearrange. It's amazing how people could change. You have to agree. Lies were running this whole country. Baka come with the tape. Ramesh Paul, not me.
Lies were running this whole country.
Limbs missing man does bother me, pal. Man is such a big weak animal, the head of the animal kingdom. But man so deceitful and act so dumb. Man relishes incest and corruption. Oh God, the thing of this woman here most is man. When man hear black, drink rum, drunk, cuss, don't think. When man here get white, say I don't drink. A man who used to have so much venom to speak because he can't deliver the man of song so weak. Wade Mark was thunder, Wade Mark was tough. Wade Mark was poor, Wade Mark was rough. But after election, Wade Mark just changed his style. Yeah, Wade Mark now he just sound like a child. And now since Pandeja, he own driver, he could introduce the breathalyzer. Since he got drunk in the backseat, he acting strange.
It's amazing how people can change.
As they get in power, their plans rearrange.
It's amazing how people can change.
Oh, let us stop. Come. Chucky jam every politician. Chucky near half kill Eric William. He advised Chambers that since he done see, let Ram Kapalani run the country. Any Arcoda never survive. After Chucky sing Howdy driver. So now when he telling me I can't sing, straight case as Satan correcting sin. He make God and all get in a big rage. That's why he fall off last week on the stage. Long time when Chucky come out to sing, He like a dragon, fire is spitting. When he sing Three Blind Mice and how he Fred Carl, you couldn't judge Chucky, he can't sing his song at all. Once the people tell him he can't sing a song, he tell the ministry to cut out the tongue. But since he under dark, he just tell he acting strange.
It's amazing how people can change.
Since Chucky get the whiff, he plans to rearrange.
It's amazing how people can change.
Let us stop.
Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah. Oh, gosh. All you know how it goes sometimes. Yeah. All you know how it goes sometimes. All right. And, folks, the phone lines are open 440-7377. That's 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. I'm trying to find out, and anyone, you can message me and let me know if you're seeing us on Facebook. But message me on the WhatsApp. Let me know if you're seeing us on Facebook. I believe I've done everything that, yeah. I've done everything that needs to be done in the proper way that it has to be done. But for some reason, I don't know what's happening there with the Facebook stream. Maybe I need to restart it. I'm not sure what's taking place there. But I'm not seeing, and if I'm not seeing it, I doubt anyone outside is seeing it. If anybody's not seeing the Facebook stream, you need to, well, I see about 5 people on, so I'm not sure. As I said, I know that there was an outage. Facebook itself had a problem during the day today. There was a problem with Facebook during the day today. So I know that there is a problem with Facebook. Look, I'm seeing it one place. I'm not seeing it the other places. I'm not sure why. Oh, I think I think I know what's the problem. Yeah, I think I understand exactly what the problem is now. Yeah, the Facebook is up, but it's not on the right page. Due to the Facebook outage today, it took off. Let me see if I can just take just roughly about 5 minutes or less. Yeah, 5 minutes or less and solve that problem. I think I understand what the problem is. Let me see if I can get that sorted out ASAP.
There was a time not long ago when it was safe to chastise your government. The opposition leader shared the respect of the Prime Minister and President. Now we have a tyrannical democracy where misplaced priority creates abject poverty. To oppose government policy is living dangerously. So now truth is a sin, and lies and deception are the virtues now trending. If I say the government in my land don't care for the local man, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say my green Dominica has been bequeathed to Red China, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say Parliament has become a comedy competition, I'm a wanted man. Wanted for speaking truth, wanted for caring about the youth, wanted for wanting fairness in my land. So I'd much rather be a wanted man than to be a yes man to a godless, corrupt politician. They've hired bounty hunters and character assassins on the radio. Never before have we ever seen a little money make Jumbie dance so. Men of faith selling away their blessings. Parents trading the future of their children.
Well, folks, we just have to go with the YouTube for tonight because yeah, I can't I can't get the Facebook up and running properly tonight due to the outage that Facebook had during the day today. So all the people who are usually on Facebook, you need to join us on YouTube, yeah?
If I say law enforcement is blind to the real criminals in these times, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say the businessmen of this land are afraid of one man.
Yes, so all of you who usually join us there, let's say a special good night to the listeners via 91.9, 91.5 Real FM. Those of you listening via 92.9 Sister Isles FM, 94.9 We Noise Radio, yes, wenoise.com, out there in Brooklyn.
wanted for speaking truth.
And those of you joining us via YouTube, you can go over the list tonight.
Youth wanted for wanting fear.
Again, to the Facebook listeners, we do apologize. But I would have to actually stop the entire program tonight just to get on the Facebook, and I don't think that's a good idea at this stage. We'll just continue as is. Those of you, we always say it on Facebook. Those of you that, you can't find us on Facebook, join us on YouTube, yeah? It is Talking Tuesdays. So, of course, we've opened the phone lines 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Good night to you, Neela and Namara. Time to go and sleep here. Time for you to go and take your sleep, Neela and Namara.
But I'm just
Zayla, time for you to go and take your rest, eh?
no.
Good night to you, Zoe. Sleep time.
Seeds of righteousness, when they're buried, they
Auxilia, time for you to go and take your rest too, yeah?
They taught us when we see wrong, we should take a stand. Evil thrives only.
Let me say a special good night to you, Mr. Roy and Miss Ermelin out there in Happy Hill.
Supposition
Yeah, giving you all a special good night, yeah?
to all men, but the preacher.
Brittany said to make sure and tell all your good night. Eh? So Roy and Miss Ermelin out there in Happy Hill, a special good night to both of you.
If I say some pastors and priests in this land are hypocrites, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth.
Now, quite a few of you were trying to get me during the day today, though I'll return the calls.
Things are getting worse. I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say
It's been one of those days, you know.
I grow in violence.
Let me say a special good night to you, Multan. Cousin Margaret, good night. Matthew and Matthew and Patty, good night.
The youth wanted for wanting fairness.
Ian out there in Canada, good night to you.
So how much?
So, folks, I've heard that the three men who had been who had escaped here allegedly committed several crimes and found themselves up there in St. Vincent, that they have been returned. Yeah, so apparently since last night or very early this morning, they were returned to Grenada. They are currently being held at some facilities, different facilities, but they are back. Whether or not they've been placed in front of a judge on the original charges yet, so that they can be sent, remanded to Richmond Hill Prison, I don't think that has happened, and I'm wondering why. So I'm hoping that happens as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm hoping that happens as soon as possible. All right, so that these individuals would be sent to where they need to be. All right, yeah, at the Richmond Hill Prison until they face, well, at this stage, we have to understand at this stage what they are facing. At this stage are the original charges which they were picked up for and were placed at the South St. George Police Station. Yeah? Those individuals who were picked up and placed at the South St. George Police Station, they were placed there for several crimes that it is alleged that they committed. Yeah? And they were supposed to, on the Monday, they escaped the Sunday, but on the Monday they were supposed to go before a magistrate and so on, who would send them up or let them loose or whatever it is. So they're back at that stage again. I expect that sometime in the near future, you would see that they are charged for the other crimes. Yeah? Sometime in the future, you would see they are charged for the other alleged crimes that they have committed and so on. I see this one. It's not as open a cut case as you might think. You know, there are some aspects to this thing that you have to seriously look at. It's not as open and closed as, not clear cut as you think.
Say law enforcement is blind to the real criminals in this time.
A reminder, there are quite a few people that are messaging right now asking if the program is not on. As we say every night, that we have that sort of issue. If you're having a problem joining us on Facebook, join us on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube is up.
Simple truth, simple truth. If I say that one man fools most of the people all the time,
just that we were signed out. Yeah, our main computer, which we do that streaming from, was signed out, and I'm unable to get back in yet.
For caring about the youth wanted.
So I don't want to stop the program just to restart to do that, right?
So out much.
And as we're talking about the law, what going on with Mr. George Prime? Seriously, what going on with Mr. George Prime? What's going on with these lawyers right now? Because you're hearing several situations where lawyers have been dragged before the Judicial and Legal Council, or whatever they call it. They've been dragged before there in relation to breaches of trust. In other words, there are situations where lawyers have collected monies on behalf of clients and just refuse to pay. They hold on to the people money and different things like that. And there are other allegations against various lawyers. Over the past couple of years, we've heard of several of them now. Well, we've heard of some being debarred. Now you're hearing Mr. George Prime has been debarred for, I think it's a period of 6 months in this instance. Yeah. And Mr. George Prime used to be a magistrate at a point in time. This one is not a nice one at all. This one is definitely not a nice one. Yeah. And it says a lot, because remember, one of the things that I made very clear is that we have a problem with our judicial system here in Grenada. The police do their job. They capture people who commit crimes and so on. They bring them before the police catch them, and they bring them before the lawyer, the magistrate or the judge. They bring them. Yeah? But at the end of the day, what's happening is that some of these people with multiple serious charges against them, multiple serious charges, are given bail. How could a judge sit there, know that an individual has been charged and even convicted of sexual crimes before? Not a sexual crime, and a sexual crimes, multiple. You reach in front of a magistrate, you reach in front of a judge, and you are again accused of the same thing. And not one, not two, not three, but multiple cases of that, and multiple cases of aggravated assault, with robbery, them kind of things. You're brought before them, charged with that, and you're given bail. Given bail to do what? Go out and rape again? And then you have the other aspect now of the officers of the court. And I'm not painting with a broad brush here, and please don't paint with a broad brush. There are many very good lawyers out there. There are many very honest lawyers out there. People who do what they say they're going to do. People who do the best they can for their clients. And so there are many of them out there. But some again, how does Mr. George Prime find himself in a situation like this? Yeah? Where it is of the opinion that a case has been made out which justifies punishment more severe than may be imposed by the council, such as removal from the role, the council shall forward to the Supreme Court. No, that's in relation to what the act says. Yeah? So it says here, the evidence discloses that Mr. Joseph and Mr. Prime had known each other for quite some time. They both hail from the island of Carriacou. The two parties first entered into attorney-at-law client relationship during the year 2015, when Mr. Joseph retained Mr. Prime's services as an attorney-at-law. The services entailed the administration of the estate of Mr. Joseph's deceased mother, Mrs. Leonora Mathurin. By virtue of a written agreement, Mr. Prime was engaged to prepare letters of administration for the deceased estate and thereafter the necessary vesting deeds. A few years later, in May 2017, Mr. Joseph further retained Mr. Prime's services, and I'm reading here from the judgment itself. In respect of the sale of property on the island of Carriacou, the sale was successfully completed in November 2017, and Mr. Prime or his office held the sum of EC $123,106.88, US dollars $45,522.12 on behalf of Mr. Joseph, with instructions to forward the same to Mr. Joseph immediately. Mr. Joseph says that he personally provided Mr. Prime with the details of his banking information for the transfer of the funds to his bank account held at Key Bank National Association, New York. Mr. Joseph explained at the tribunal hearing that he also provided Mr. Prime with the necessary SWIFT code details to facilitate the transfer of his funds held by Mr. Prime. These are the kind of things that are happening. Yeah? So you send some, you don't send the rest, and all kind of thing. And you have people being taken off as lawyers because of this. There's a problem with our judicial system. That people who are accused of these serial crimes, you're hearing of people that's on murder charge, they get into go home and relax and lie and think they're on a murder charge, you know. You actually believe that this individual, has taken the life of someone. And you, a judge or a lawyer, is sitting there and tell this person, hey, we sending you home, go and relax still until we're ready for the case. 4, 5, 6 years, kill 3, 4, 5 more people, no problem, but go home and relax still. So there is a problem with our judicial system. Yes, there was a problem at the South St. George police station infrastructurally. There was a problem when it comes to the type of staffing and the staffing and so on. Yes, there's a problem with that. But in the first place, you should not have been speaking about at least 2 of these individuals being outside due to what they had been charged with earlier in the year. For them to come out and do what they did, for them to have to be taken up to go through all that has taken place in the first place. Yeah, that's my personal view in relation to that. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, that's the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Let me just make sure I have my music there. Nice, good, yeah.
If I say the government in my land don't care for the local man, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say my green Dominica has been bequeathed to Red China, I'm a wanted man. Simple truth. If I say Parliament has become a comedy competition.
Again, I'm still getting quite a few messages. Oh, good.
Wanted for speaking truth.
I don't know if any of you heard the news tonight. I was hearing something about the cooks in the schools, but I don't know if any of you could clarify what was said because I didn't hear it. I just heard a little piece when I was trying to get into the studio, so I didn't hear the full thing. I heard some statement was being made about the cooks in the school. I don't know if on the GBN news, at least I know it was. So I don't know how many of you caught that. Also, in spending some time in St. George today, I was approached by several people. Yesterday, I was approached by several people yesterday as well. Yeah? And in all instances, these people were telling me of situations where they were unable to access medication at the various health facilities. There seems to be another situation when it comes to medication at the health facilities. In fact, and let me remind you all to make your donations to our good brother Wayne Noel. He is presently at the General Hospital again. He's had some procedures done again there. And medication, he's not getting medication from you. They have to get the medication outside, you know. And it ain't cheap. They have to be getting the medication outside of there. Yeah? They have to be getting the medication from outside for our good brother Wayne Noel. So those of you that have the opportunity, please do so. You're going to Nexa Credit Union, right? Nexa Credit Union. And you're depositing on the name Wayne Noel. The account number is 211093. So 211093. Yeah? So the little $10, $5, $20, $50, whatever you can put, it helps. Yeah? Because some of those medication, talk about medication over $400 and different things in medication. So it does help. Yeah? We have a caller. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a caller online. Good night. Hello, good night. Hi, good night, caller. Go right ahead.
Good night, Sheldon.
Yes, listen to me on the phone, not on the thing in the back.
Yes,
you know better
Sheldon,
than that.
I was at St. George's yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 mentally people approached me. Right? And they have prescription from the doctor. I'm telling you, I take the paper and I look at it, Sheldon. And they said they don't have money to buy the medication, so they're asking for help to buy the medication. One of it was $65.50. I mean, these people sick. They can't walk. Where would they get the money to buy the medication? So I don't understand what's going on in Grenada. The mental people, these are people that we have to secure. Right? They're going around and they're asking people for money to buy the medication, and one have 2 prescriptions and one have 1 prescription. I see it is a kind of light blue, green, or something like that. The paper is right. So I don't understand what's going on now with the mental people. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. 4407377. Let me say this as well. Yeah, you can't play around when it comes to medication and mental people, especially if you're speaking of people that are suffering from bipolar or schizophrenia and those kind of things. You don't play around with their medication. If they need to be medicated, if they are to that level that they need to be medicated, they must receive their medication and receive it in a timely manner and on a constant basis. You can't have period of time where they're off their medication, because especially in the case of schizophrenics, they can do some really, really nasty things when they're having an episode. So they need to have their medication. So I was hearing from some folks who, for their blood pressure medication, their blood pressure medication, their diabetic medication, they were not able to secure those. And there were 1 or 2 other people that were saying that they had instances where they went to various medical facilities, not just the general hospital, but other medical facilities, and they had to take a prescription outside of there because there was not medication that they were prescribed. It was not there. So they had to go and try and get it. Or they had to call a family member. And that's the thing. They had to go now and call a family member or so on to try and send the money. So see some of them now having to, under the pressure, they already have high blood pressure, all sort of thing, have to find themselves going to MoneyGram or have to find themselves going to some of these other institutions to collect money, then to go to get it. And that's it's really unfair. We have a caller online. Good night. Hello, good night. Hello, good night, caller. You're live. Okay, it seems as though that caller is gone. Yes, callers, when you call, remember to listen to us on the phone line. Even if you're hearing us faintly, make sure that you're listening to us on the phone line itself. We'll try to resolve the problem here. In fact, as I had told you all, we need to replace the board, and that is becoming a reality. All right, so the board will be replaced. Nice. So that is becoming a reality. Nice, because that is one of the reasons that when you call sometimes you're hearing me okay, sometimes you're not hearing me okay. And so sometimes like you have to do like them old time TV, you know, when you knock them pow pow and they start to show proper again. The board, sometimes we have to be doing that to the board. The board is over 10 years old. So you expect those things to start happening with it. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. All right. So those of you that want to, that have the medication and so on, you want to assist with the medication and so for Wayne Noel, you could hit me a WhatsApp. Also, you know the ways to reach me, right? So you could hit me on the WhatsApp and different things like that, because he's now at the hospital and he must get his medication, and the medication that he has to get, he's not getting it there, and he's speaking hundreds of dollars. Yeah. And I trying to understand something when it comes to Turkey and that contract, you know, because if he was not doing a good job, explain this to me. Why did they take the same team that he had working and taking care of the playing field there in Laura? Why did they hire the same young men, the same people, they take them, they put them with somebody else? So somebody else has now taken the team of people that was working with him, and they are working on another contract doing the exact same thing. If they wasn't doing a good job, they would not have been taken and placed under another person to do a job within the St. George area. I'm just going to leave it at within the St. George. You say a lie and I will tell you which constituency and which playing field in specific. Because the person who has that contract for that playing field is a person that is working and has a good job already. It is not a person that is their sole means of survival. As in the case of Turkey, it is the sole means of survival. Yeah? So he had no other means of money coming in. And they took that away from him. So that is why I say, as small as it is, whatever it is, you may be passing through town and you could drop in Nexa, and Nexa usually don't have no pile of people in it, so it doesn't take long. Yeah, if you're going there and you meet 3 people, you meet a lot. Alright? But you can go in there, you could leave whatever it is for him, or you may be transacting business there, and while you're there, you say, okay, I want to put that $50 on account 211093. Alright? And assist our brother. Alright? 440-7377. And I see someone saying they thought that, no, there was an outage when it came to Facebook today. There was an outage in relation to it. We have a caller online. Good night.
Hi, good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good
about
night.
the pressure tablet. I went to the doctor today, and there was no pressure tablet up there.
And that's which
pressure tablet. So
which location?
Good Hope Medical Station.
Okay. So that good hope. So they don't have up there, right? And that's the stories I keep getting. People meet me in town and they say, Sheldon, no medication. No medication. Yeah? Some people are telling me they can't get antibiotics. In 1 or 2 instances, people were telling me even painkillers. What we commonly would say Panadol. Some people are saying even painkillers they cannot access within this healthcare system. And then when they were asked that question by Linda Straker, journalist Linda Straker asked the question of this administration when they had their press conference last week in relation to health and health-related matters, which was just to try and throw you off the talk of what is taking place with the escaped prisoners and so on. And remember, there is still a prisoner on the loose. I don't know if the police getting close. They're offering $5,000. There's still a prisoner on the loose. But anyway, we'll come back to that. When she asked the question of whether they have made alternative arrangements, so you can't sit down and let's say this clear to the government who want to say we're giving advice, so be it. I prefer to give advice that they might take and save the lives of Grenadians than keep silent and see people die because of the stupidity of the individuals who are in charge of the process. So you cannot sit down there and say that you're working through the OECS PPS. That's the pharmaceutical fund, the regional pharmaceutical fund. And they are not providing the medication on a timely manner. And meanwhile, there is no medication in the facilities here. People could end up with a stroke. People who have to take their diabetic medication and their blood pressure medication and so on, their hypertension medication. If they don't take that, they can have heart attack. You have situations with the diabetics, they can go blind. They can have different episodes. All sorts of different things can happen. Yeah? So you know this. And yet still you're not saying, well, okay, let's make an arrangement through another organization to get in as much medication as possible in the interim so that at least we have at the various medical facilities, even if a limited amount, while we wait and we hear from OECS PPS that you're bringing it in by, let's say you're bringing it in by next month. So people are supposed to stay undead this month. They made no arrangements. None. When asked the question, the minister spent all the time talking about, during the last government time, they had a system where they was writing down this and writing down that and that sort of thing. No. You have to provide the medication for people. Remember, these were the same people that was on the campaign trail talking about lack of medication, it had no medication and that sort of thing. These were the same people that were saying the only people to fix it is the National Democratic Congress. That is what they were saying. But now, you realize that these are the people that have made the situation worse when it comes to healthcare here in Grenada. Yeah? So while the focus, while the finances, while all of that is aiming at, we're going and build a new hospital, a teaching hospital, and we're going and build that, and you take, what it is, 20 million, 22 million, how much? Yeah? You take how much million and you say you're going to fix, you're going to build the new facility, and so the existing facilities have issues that you are not addressing. You go, you meet without the Minister of Health, I may say, they go and they meet with the various nurses and the doctors and so on, and then you hear a situation that, look, we're giving you 500, giving the nurses 500, you're giving the doctors 1,000, and up to now, many of them are still having problems in receiving that promise. Up to now. So these are the situations that people are facing within the healthcare system here and now in Grenada. And instead of addressing it last week, they spend the time just trying to attack the former administration. So they're trying to take the attention off of them by attacking the former administration. Yeah? The former administration, which has the best record, and anyone in the know can tell you that this is a fact, that the New National Party had the best record with the OECS PPS in relation to payments. That Grenada, under the New National Party, had the best record in relation to payments. Yeah? But now, you're hearing all sorts of nonsense taking place. So they're saying, yes, we'll pay OECS PPS, and we sit down. So you go sit down and wait on medication, and people going, and you had to down to drips. Look, somebody just messaged about that again, and it is something that I heard during last week again, that down to drips, people had to go and try and get it elsewhere because it wasn't available at the general hospital. Drips, wasn't available. And meanwhile, they just continue ducking and ducking and ducking. 2 weeks, 2 days. We're still waiting to hear the Prime Minister. Anybody hear the Prime Minister say? Hearing people say things, then when I check, it ended up being, when I ask about what the Prime Minister has said in relation to the crime situation, people say, yeah, he say something there, but he wasn't kind of specific. No. What I saw was him speaking at the Carriacou meeting after a meeting in relation to crime and violence in the Caribbean region, and he was the reporter. He was the reporter. Yeah? So in some of these conferences, you may have a meeting, so you may have a group leader, and you have a conference, right? You discuss a particular issue, and you recognize one individual in the group as the person who is going to report. And he was the person that reported on the discussions that took place on crime and violence in the Caribbean. Yet still, we still await to hear him speak on the situation that has existed in Grenada. Thank goodness that many of the news networks out there have sort of gone on to other stories. They're mostly on Haiti and other things right now. They've gone on to other stories. But it is still there residually that if someone says, I'm looking for a country to go to, and they type in Bing, in Google, in wherever, they type in that search engine, Grenada, that one of the things that is going, according to how Google operates and how these search engines operate, one of the things that's going to the top of their news feed that they're seeing is this issue of these two people that are missing and presumed dead. Well, at this time, 2 weeks later, and presumed dead, and these people who escaped from a prison in Grenada and committed this crime in Grenada, but were caught in St. Vincent. So St. Vincent ain't getting the bad name, Grenada that getting the bad name. Yeah? And there is no concerted effort on behalf of this administration to correct that story or to correct that narrative that is out there in the world. No effort by them to try and correct that. Yeah, as far as they're concerned, but who is all to tell me talk on this issue? That seems to be the attitude of the Prime Minister. As I said, I don't. Maybe he talked yesterday, he talked today. I haven't seen anything. Can anyone point me to statements made by the Prime Minister since the shooting incidents in the town of St. George and Grand Dance and the murder of these two tourists? In fact, so Grenada is up. How much murders we have for the year so far? We're in March, and I think we had at 3 or 4 somewhere there. Right. Yeah? Because that is a nasty situation that Grenada has found itself in, and we need to hear from our government. Yeah? You're supposed to have a National Security Council They were supposed to meet. Let's hear what the recommendations. You don't have to go into specifics. Yeah? You don't have to go into specifics. We don't expect you all to talk about the spy equipment you all buy from Israel and using to tap into people's WhatsApp messages, email messages, and social media. We don't expect you all to talk about that. We know you all have it. We know you all are utilizing it. But we don't expect you all to come out and admit that, hey, we have bought equipment from Israel and we are utilizing this equipment that costs a significant amount of money, not to find out who are the drug lords and who bringing in guns into the country, because if they were using it for that, they would know about the guns that coming into the country, and you're hearing plow, 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 different places all over the island every now and again. You're hearing bow, 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 or plow, 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 or even worse, in some instances, rat-tat-tat-tat. They would know who were the sources that bringing that in if they were utilizing that equipment proper. If they were utilizing the members of the special branch properly, and not sending them to sit down on benches near to people in town when they're talking to find out what they're talking about, and putting things to try and record your conversation, and using different items disguised to try and snap your photo. Yeah? If they were utilizing special branch to do that against the negative elements in our society, then we would not have the influx of firearms, etc., that they say they know was going and coming to the country anyway. We know guns was going and coming, and so what, you did nothing to stop it. Yeah? So that's what they have to do. Speak to the people, tell us that you're utilizing the special branch outside of trying to follow Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell when he going in Grenville, that you're detailing people to go and follow him in Grenville and to find out who he went and talked to and where he vehicle park and who come and talk to him by the vehicle, and making notes of that to go and report down in SSU on a Monday. Yeah? When you all have your meetings on a Monday to go and report on that. You all would have made sure that instead of following Dr. Mitchell, you were trying to find out who the people are dealing in drugs in this country. You'd try and find out who are the people that are dealing in guns in this country. You would utilize that equipment that you bought, and you would utilize the men and women. Yes, we know it are women in it too. Men and women of the special branch properly to detect crime, not to follow political rivals, not to try and find out who giving this one information and who passing information to this one. Because it is happening, and you all cannot deny it because it is happening. Yeah? Anyway, 440-7377, 347-329-3101. Folks, there's another issue that I want to raise, and I know that our... Let me see it here. Yeah, I'm just trying to get... I know that the Facebook is down, but let me just pull up an article that I saw on Facebook, and it kind of piqued my... yeah, it kind of piqued my interest when I saw that particular article by journalist Linda Straker. And I'll just read quickly from it here for those of you that might still be signed out of your Facebook and you can't get back in, and others. Yeah? Let me see. And before I do that, let me just make sure I send something here. Yeah, let me just make sure I think something here. Yeah. Yeah. So let me just read this one for you. It says that government to consider expanding GDB role, the Grenada Development Bank. Yeah? And it says the Grenada Development Bank may soon be able to issue shares and accept deposits from customers if the Cabinet of Ministers approves a recommendation to expand the functions of the bank, which became a body corporate of government in 1976. Government is yet to issue a public statement or have a consultation on the recommendation, but the draft amendment to the GDB legislation has been submitted to Cabinet for approval. The Grenada Development Bank completed a draft amendment to amend the GDB Act Cap 129. The bill seeks to expand the functions of the bank to authorize the bank to issue shares and accept certain types of deposits from customers, as well as strengthen its governance. The bill was submitted to Cabinet for its consideration. said the 2022 annual report of the Grenada Authority for Regulations of Financial Institutions, GAFIN, under the topic Legislative Review. The report, available on the authority's website, was submitted to Finance Minister Dennis Cornwall on 23rd November 2023 and is yet to be laid in the lower house of Parliament. It is the duty of the Finance Minister to lay the report in Parliament. GAFIN is charged with the responsibility of regulating and supervising the non-bank financial sector in Grenada, with the primary objectives of ensuring the protection of financial consumers, the well-being of regulated entities, and the maintenance of financial stability. According to the GDB legislation, the functions of the bank are to A. Assist persons to establish, let's just go through it here, assist persons to establish, carry on, or expand development enterprises by participating in share capital, granting loans, and providing other forms of financial assistance to persons. Assist persons to pursue courses of higher, technical, and vocational education by providing loans and other forms of financial assistance. C. Foster the development of monies and capital markets in Grenada. Mobilize and coordinate available resources to be utilized in financing industrial and agricultural projects in Grenada, and grant loans to persons for the construction, extension, alteration, improvement, or repair of dwelling houses on land owned or leased by them. Yeah? And the current board of directors, Andrea St. Bernard, we just hear that name a lot, isn't it? Andrea St. Bernard, she is the chairperson of the Grenada Development Bank. Earl Braffett is the deputy chairman, Val Antoine, Ramona Otway, Patrick Simmons, Danica Sherman, Trevor St. Bernard, Rolanda McQueen, and Royston Comerbach. All of them are directors, with Mr. Royston Comerbach also holding the position of managing director. Some of you may say, well, why is that important? And let me just pull up here the GAFIN report itself, yeah? Let me just pull that up for you. And some of you may say, well, why is this important? Why is the GAFIN report itself important, and the fact that they are about to change? Now, what they are about to do is make what has been the development bank, in my view, they are about to make it into a commercial bank. If you're going to take deposits from people, so you're doing the same thing that basically Cooperative Bank do, and Republic Bank do, and ACB does. Yeah? That you're now going to start accepting. You're now going to start accepting deposits from people, right? You are basically changing the bank from a development bank, as in a bank that is focused solely on trying to help people. Remember when this bank started off, it started off as the Agriculture and Fishers Bank. It was a bank that was mainly for farmers and fishermen, and so to be able to access finance if they want to buy a couple acres extra, if they want to get implements to improve the ability to do farming or so, or fishing and different things like that. That was the initial focus of the Grenada Development Bank. It expanded a bit into helping people who want to get scholarships to further your studies and so on. They could get it out of there. People who want to do home improvements, different things like that, you could get it out of there. Or if you have a wonderful business idea and you want funding for that business idea, it was an area that you could get funding at a lower rate of interest and so on, and kind of easier because it was a statutory body that you'd be able to get funding there to start a small business and that. Instead of that, they're trying to turn it to a commercial bank. But we'll come back to that. Let me take this call on the WhatsApp. And a special good night. Hello.
Hi, good night, Sheldon.
Hi, good night, caller. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good night, Talking Points family.
I just find out, I'm now making out the voice. Nurse.
Yes, Sheldon.
How are you doing,
yes,
Nursey?
Hi. I had to call in, Sheldon, because I'm here wondering why spend all that money on the 50th independence when the country has no money for medication. I mean, it bothers me, the fact that now, without all this medication that the people need, we're going to have a higher mortality rate, because without the medication, we're going to have deaths. Not just deaths alone, we're going to have people with diabetes. Now, they're going to have to, once he gets higher, that increases other problems. You're going to have diabetes, you're going to have foot ulcer. Now a lot of people are going to have more amputations. Because the diabetes is worsening, you're going to have more kidney issues. We're going to have more people with kidney failures. You're going to have more people on dialysis. How are these people going to afford to pay for dialysis? I'm hearing another issue again, Sheldon, that in the hospital, something that's important is the IV caps. You see the HEP locks and the IV access, your PIC lines, your dialysis access, your HEP locks, no caps on those things. That's a major infection control. If any infection get through those lines, Sheldon, patient could develop sepsis. Sepsis, if it's not treated within 12 to 48 hours, that patient goes into septic shock, then they can die. Why? My thing was, why spend all this money for drones and lights when you could have used at least half of it? I don't mind you celebrating, Sheldon. I don't mind you celebrating the 50th. And I'm quite sure if it was NNP, GULP, whatever party it was, they would have done something good for the 50th independence. My thing is, I find it was the waste of money.
Prioritize. You need to prioritize.
You have to learn to prioritize, because now I'm looking at what's going on there, and it's a major issue. How are people, how are they going to get a medication? Like I said, just with diabetes alone, look how many things that can happen. Okay, your diabetes get worse, you get all these things going on there. Your blood pressure, you get all these things going on there. It's very hard for people. I'm looking at it on dialysis. Look at our good friend. And my thing is, you miss one dialysis. Every time you miss a dialysis, your electrolytes gets imbalanced. Therefore, you have to go to the hospital to fix it. If you don't have the IV fluids and you don't have all of that stuff, how are you going to fix it?
And in the
how
case,
are you going to fix it?
and let me say this, nurse, in the case of a friend that's at the hospital, they had to remove, I don't know what they call it, but the tube that they have in him, where they had to remove it from one location and place it in a next location.
That's the access, and that's what I'm saying. No, that's another thing, because I was told from somebody that visited the hospital, there's no caps. So that's another thing. The dialysis access site, it has the dressing has to be changed every 3 days, every 2 to 3 days. If you don't change that dressing, that becomes a source of infection. Even the side, the end of it has to have a cap, a tubing cap that has to be changed every 2 to 3 days also. If you don't take care of those things, then you get infected. That's the reason why they probably have to be removing it, because infection is a big problem. And like I said, that's a source for what we call sepsis. And once you get sepsis and you don't have the proper antibiotics to take care of it, we know what's going to happen. Okay, after 12 to 24 hours, the body was shut down with sepsis. So why create further problems? These things, and them, like I said, we should have taken the money and spent it wisely. Those are kiddie thoughts. Some of these people need to do a critical thinking class where they learn how to think critically, because something is wrong there. Something is wrong.
And you hear when the carnival over, you just really hear, and the carnival is over
when
now.
When the independence over, because all of the thing with who was jumping and carrying on, and give the PM a clap. I'm sorry, I into prioritizing. I don't look at the smaller picture there. We have to look at the bigger picture. Yes, you bring lights. What is the lights going to do for Grenada? How is it going to enhance our country and our people, Sheldon? What did it do for them? I'm still trying to figure out. I'm sitting here day by day, and I'm trying to figure out what benefit. How did it benefit Grenada and Grenadians? Because now look at all what we're going through.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask this question here. For the average diabetic that's out there that's on medication, they're medicated. I know some people, they control their diet and so on. But for those that are on medication, what are some of the possible things that can happen to them if they do not get their medication and they do not get their medication to utilize in a timely manner? Like they're missing.
Okay, so this is what this.
Some.
Yeah, go ahead. They're missing. I understand. They're missing. They're not getting the medication they need. So this is what's going to happen. The A1C, which is the number you need to tell whether your diabetes is controlled or not, that's going to go up. You want to keep it under 7. You want to keep it, as low as possible, 6. Okay, that. But if you don't have the medication, it continues to climb. Now, when it climbs, like I said, 1, your circulation. You notice that the people's feet, you're going to see their feet is getting dark, it's swollen, it's everything. The circulation is going to get poor. Once the circulation starts getting poor, blood is not able to flow through the legs as it's supposed to. As a result, the feet will start getting black. You notice you see the toes start getting black, the ankles. You call that gangrene. You call it gangrene. And once that happens, it's dead. That portion is dead. Blood can no longer flow through that leg. As a result, you have to amputate it.
Let me ask,
So
hold on.
hold
on, that's without you having a wound on the leg? Without you having...
After a while, it develops. Once diabetes is untreated, all of that happens. You don't have... And then that's the other thing. The smallest thing, the smallest scratch. Let's say you go outside and one of the bushes, something scratch your skin. It opens. Because you're diabetic, it takes a longer time to heal. So now that little scratch that you just had today, by next week, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger because the poor healing. When you have diabetes, the wound takes much longer to heal. So instead of it improving, it just might get worse. So that can open into a hole, we call it diabetic ulcer, and then that again too can cause your feet to be amputated. So that's a form where you can get amputation. Then the other thing is, when that wound is there and that wound gets infected again, like I said, you can get sepsis from that wound. And sepsis is an infection if it's not treated within 12 to 48, 24 hours. You will go into something called septic shock where all your organs shut down and you die. So that's another complication. Another complication, you go into kidney failure. And that's how you end up on dialysis.
So all of this is from not taking your medication.
Not treating your diet, yes. Not getting the medication you're supposed to and controlling the diabetes. Just that alone by itself. And not including your heart disease and all of that stuff added. So there's a lot more. I'm just touching on just the surface.
Wow.
So all of that by itself can cause your diabetes worsening instead of improving.
Is the situation the same when it comes to people with hypertension? Because I know in many people the two go together because they have the hypertension and the diabetes.
It does go like that, but the diabetes is worse. I mean, the hypertension is more, like you get a cardiac issue, you have your cholesterol issue, stroke, your heart attack and stuff. But the diabetes more has the problem with the amputation and the kidney disease and all of that stuff. They can lead to it, but like I said, the diabetic is worse. The sugar, that part is worse.
I know that you're linked in with the various health system in Grenada and with various people at different locations. What have you been hearing from some of your, I would say, nursing colleagues on island? What have you been hearing from some of them in relation to these issues? Because I know what I've heard in tongue today, what many people have come up to me and said. I know what I've been hearing. What have you been hearing on your end?
I've been hearing they don't have the basic thing like even a Tylenol there, like pain medication. I'm hearing, like I said, the caps for the IV, which is a very important. They may not see it as important, but that's very important because, like I said, without the caps on the site, like we say, the dialysis site, the tessio, your PICC line, your hep lock, those things, they don't have the caps for it. That's a big issue there too. They don't have anything there.
You know, this reminds me of the period between 2008 and 2013, when you had a situation that they were washing IV tubes, you know. They were actually, during the last NDC administration, they were taking tubes, IV tubes, and they were washing them and putting them to the back of the hospital to dry in the sun and the sea breeze to reuse.
Sheldon, let me tell you something. As a nurse in the US, I've worked as a nurse on the bedside nurse for 13 and a half years in New York City. And if I not change my IV bag, like I said, you have to date it ever so often and change it and put new tube in. And if you don't do that, you're going to get written up and you could possibly get fired, because this is people's life you're dealing with. Okay? Those are major source of infection. You cannot reuse. Why? My thing again, I'm going back again because I need somebody to answer, or at least give me an explanation as to why would you spend all that money on something like this, and you have a hospital with sick people. You have people that, and look what's going on, and no medication. I'm right now, like I said, I'm a nurse practitioner. I prescribe medication, Sheldon. I prescribe medication to the patient. Sometimes I go to the patient's house and I prescribe the medication. And I turn around and I still take money from my pocket, go to the pharmacy, buy the medication for them, bring it back to the house. Because if I go there and I treat you and you can't afford your medication and you can't pick up your medication, that defeats the purpose. I don't want to hear when I go back home the next day, I hear you're in the hospital or you died because you couldn't go to the pharmacy to get your medicine, or you didn't have your money to buy your medicine. So that's a big thing for me. And I don't understand why other people can't see the importance and the urgency as to why the hospital or, pharmacy, whatever, clinics, whatever needs the type of medication, and why money is not being put into it.
Well, I'll say this, that it seems to be a constant problem, and one of the things that I recognize, and again, I go back to that press conference that was held last week, where when asked the question, what are you doing in the interim? Because here it is, you have the OECS Pharmaceutical Fund. Yes, you get your hypertension and your diabetic medication, etc., your IV, because right now there's a situation that in more than one instance I've been told by families of individuals at the general hospital that they had to go and purchase it. They had to go and buy the IV to bring it back up. The saline, I think is what you all call it. I'm not a medical professional. The saline. They had to go and buy it. Yes, so they had to go and buy it in a private place and bring it back.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Sheldon, I used to boast about my little island so much. I
still boasting. It's still mine. I still boasting.
But I'm so embarrassed with lately what's been going on. I am so embarrassed. Usually I go to the patient's house now and I try to make it to put the conversation on something else so that they won't ask me about what's going on there right now. Yeah, I'm embarrassed.
Nah, I tell you, don't be embarrassed, man. It's still we country. We still love here, and we still going to boast that here is the best place on earth.
I still love it, and I'll do everything in my power to help with what I can. But I'm still embarrassed. Still really embarrassed. But it just hurts me with what's going on medication-wise. I feel we shouldn't have to be in this mess. Something as important as this, where's the priority? It's like I'm looking and you're telling me lights and drones have more priority than people's life. Yes, you want your country to celebrate 50 years, but if you don't take care of the people, they're not going to even live to see 50 years. So then there's going to be a country without people. Because if you don't take care of your people, you're just you care about just the country itself and not what's in it. That's what it's looking like to me.
What would you advise the present administration to do in a situation like they are in right now? You've been involved in the healthcare field for many, many years. Although you're young, you've been involved for many, many years. What would you advise this administration in relation to this particular issue?
For one, I'm hearing they want to build a new hospital. I don't know how true it is, but I'm hearing that. Okay? My thing is, why waste time and money to build a new hospital? You already have one, you have two. Take that money and invest it into enhancing, the hospitals. Like putting new equipments, getting staff. Because if you don't have the staff too, that's another thing. If you don't have the staff, there's only so much you can do. So buy stuff for the equipment, medication, stuff for the hospital and enhance instead of going and build another hospital and the one that's there is nothing. What are you putting in the next one? By the time you waste that money to build a building, it's just a building that's going to be standing there, because when you build it, it's going to be the same as this one. No equipment, no medication, nothing.
The Nurses Association, I know you all have various activities, the Grenada Nurses Association. I know you all are not going to hear that situation is taking place and not do anything. What are your plans for the year, the Grenada Nurses Association out there in New York?
Okay, so for the 50th, we wanted to do something for our country. So we're planning, we're in the process of it, of doing a medical mission, but we didn't do it around February or March or April, because we figure they still have activities and it will take away from what we really want to do. It's not a matter of music and dancing and all of that stuff. We get to the more important stuff. So we want to come down there in October, of the ending of October, when all of that stuff is finished and the country is back to normal, to do some eye surgery, cataract, glaucoma. We also want to provide education to the patient, because yes, some people may not need, they might be pre-diabetic, a little over almost to diabetes. We want to provide education so what food and what you can do to prevent yourself from getting diabetes, because you can control it. Diabetes can be controlled through diet and exercise. So if you eat the right stuff and you do the right thing, there's a possibility that you can control it without having to go on medication. So we want to do education in that area. We also want to do education for hypertension, because your salt, your canned stuff, your packaged foods, all of that stuff is high in sodium. So with that education, you would know, limit your salt intake. Even also for dialysis patient, you need to know that you can't have all that salt. You can't, so at least what diets you can go on to help, prevent some of these things. So we want to do education. We also want to do some of wound care, taking care of if you have ulcers, what to do and how to care for it so that it don't get worse. So stuff like that we're planning to come and do in October for the Grenadian people. And we're also trying to do it not just Grenada. We want to, go over to Carriacou. So we might have like little groups where some go over in that area. Some might go to St. David, some might go to St. Andrews. Split it up in little groups so that, we get to accomplish something.
Indeed. So you all have quite a packed calendar for the year 2024.
We have that done, yes.
And please,
that's what we're...
make sure that you let us know when you all are having another activity, because I know you all have various functions to raise funds in the New York State area and in other areas as well, from what I hear. You all do different functions to raise money. So make sure that you let us know on Talking Points, because we have Maryland listening, we have Baltimore listening, we have Boston listening, we have well, we have all over. Folks are listening to the program, so we want to be able to be the conduit to let people know what you all are having and that they can take part as well.
Yes, Sheldon, one thing I need to get in contact with Dr. Modest, so if it's possible you can give her my number so she can contact me when she has a chance.
Okay, I'll do that.
Something. Thank you very much.
No problem. Before the program is over, she shall have your number. All right. In fact, I can tell you that she has your number right now. Right? I'll send it. All right. So she has your number now. All right, my dear. Thank you so very much. And feel free, give us a call every now and again because we need to know about these things. Yeah.
Yeah, just a simple education, Sheldon, educating the public, can go a long way. And sometimes
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yes, sometimes you might be eating the wrong stuff and you don't know that's like everything has a diet, like dialysis. There's a special diet. You're gonna eat something and you're gonna eat that salt, you're gonna certain things you have to just follow, and that by itself can just go a long way from you having to be started on medication. It's called preventive. So,
and let me make one request of the Nurses Association. When you all are coming down, I would like you all, if possible, to conduct some training with even if it's government ministries like at the ministerial complex and other facilities and so the bus terminal with the staff and so there, of what to do in an emergency situation. If somebody has a cardiac arrest, what do you do? Somebody has a serious asthma attack episode, what do they do? Somebody passes out or somebody's injured. If you all can do some training along those lines. We know that over the years we've had that done by the St. John Ambulance Brigade, and the Red Cross has done some training in that. But the more training, the better.
Yeah,
so if you all could consider that.
I'll put that in also.
Yeah.
And Sheldon, one thing I wanted to say again. Most of the times I see like somebody has a stab wound or a gunshot wound, and everybody standing around doing a video, talking, and the person is on the ground bleeding. Put a gloves on. Get a pair of gloves. Get a towel. Get something, a blanket. Put it in that area. Apply some pressure. That just can, help stop some of that bleeding. Instead of just standing there, we can do that, and that can go a long way. By just applying pressure, you could reduce the amount of bleeding. That could save their life. So that's one thing I notice every time there's an issue, a stab wound, everybody's standing there, and then you look, the person bleed to death. Hypovolemic shock. Just that alone itself can, do something. Don't just stand there. Don't just videotape. Help our brothers and sisters. That can go a long way.
Even you have situations, Grenada is an island, so we're surrounded by water, and whether it's at the beaches and sometimes at the waterfalls or the river and so on, you have incidents from time to time where persons end up under the water for too long, and many people, they don't even know how to do the proper compression.
CPR.
Yeah, they don't know how to do it, and people pass away who otherwise could have survived.
Yeah, and I think it was 2012, we did come down to Grenada and we did some CPR courses. We could probably put that in there also. The next time we have the meeting, I'll bring it up to let them know we could add that also in it. But we're coming for 1 week, so I'm not sure how much we can get in, but I'll definitely discuss that with the team and see what we can do. But certain things I see, look, and I see people lose their life, and I'm like, that's a life that should have been saved.
Indeed.
So it bothers you when you look at things like that, and they're no longer with us, and you like, if only someone had done this, if this was done, if another decision was made, then maybe that person would have been with us right now.
And if the focus was on trying to help instead of trying to videotape.
Exactly. Every time I look, I'm like, I'm looking and I'm like, why is everybody standing there and that poor guy or that poor lady is bleeding there? Get a towel, get something, put some pressure. Put some pressure there, until the until help arrives. Instead of that person just bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and by the time help arrives, that's it.
Yes, indeed.
Get a towel, wrap it. If it's a leg, you could wrap it around and make sure you tie it tight. That's going to reduce, the amount of blood loss.
All right. Well, Nurse Wendy Maguire, we'd like to thank you so very much for joining us on Talking Points tonight. And you are always welcome. And we always wish to thank you for your continued support of Talking Points. We know you're always there.
I'm always there. I'm always there. You can always call me.
And folks, if you're looking for the Talking Points t-shirts in the New York area, either contact Nursey. She had the Talking Points t-shirts right there. Yeah. Everybody knows to find Nurse Wendy, so she's out there. All right. Thank you so very much, Nurse. You enjoy the rest of your night.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye. Yes, indeed, folks. Yeah, that's always a problem, huh? That you have these situations, and yes, the phone lines are open. You have these problems where people are injured. Folks in an area, somebody gets a stab wound. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be that somebody take a knife and stab the person, but you fall and you get injured or so you have a wound. And the person is bleeding and people just videotaping and nobody is saying, well, okay, let's take off a shirt and wrap it and apply some pressure. Let's try and get a clean towel and apply some pressure. Let's try and get something on there to apply some pressure so that the person doesn't bleed out. And then afterwards you hear that the person died, a person who otherwise could have been alive right now and here with us. And there are many situations with that. You also heard Nurse speak to the fact that in many instances, what we say, the IV tube, the tubes that they put into your vein and then they give you your intravenous fluids and that sort of thing, that you're hearing there are problems with that, and with the bit that actually goes into your hands and so on, they're having problems. They don't have much of those things. So there is a problem when it comes to medical supplies in the state of Grenada. If there are those of you that are outside of Grenada that wish to make donations, you could contact Nurse Maguire and the Grenada Nurses Association. You may have access to medication. You may have access to whatever it is, blood pressure machines and so on, testing strips. You may have access to those things. And let me say a special good night to my partner. Look for the signal. Robbie, a special good night to you, bro. Yeah, that's one individual. He made sure when he came down, he made sure that he got it to me. Yeah, testing strips and all different things so that even when we're having functions, that some of the stuff that we use there. And I have another good friend who operates a business place in Grenville, and I know he ain't want me call his name, but he operates a business place in Grenville. He made sure that he got a 1 or 2 blood pressure glucose machines to us so that we could check people blood glucose and blood pressure and different things. He got those things to us and so on. So folks, in whatever way you can help, try to help as much as possible. We have a call online. Good night.
Good night, Brother Scott.
Hi, good night. How are you doing?
Not too good, but not too bad.
Hey, Turkey.
Yeah, I was listening to the program and it was very informative.
Yes, man. No salt for you, eh?
Yeah.
No salt for you, Turkey. So you're still at the facility or you're out today?
I'm in there still.
Oh, goodness. All right. So you're calling from the General Hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, I want to tell you, see, the nurses and them, they're really working hard down there.
Yeah, for that, yeah.
You want to congratulate them. They're really working hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I hear another patient in the background say, yeah. I hear them concur. I heard the other patient in the background say, yes.
I feel it for them sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very dedicated and know how it is, but...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they listening to the program. You know how it is, you know?
Yes, my brother.
And
right. we're there with you. We're praying for you.
Yes, thanks.
All right, my brother. And
right,
reminding folks to make sure to pass in. We know you have to get the medication and so on, and it's expensive. From what I'm hearing, it's expensive.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Yeah. All right, my brother.
I'm listening. All the best.
All right, bro. You keep in touch. All right. Yes, indeed. So he called from the General Hospital. And again, let me say a special good night to the nurses. Yeah, the nurses of Grenada, wherever you are, the nurses, the nursing assistants, who they say shouldn't be on contract, but they tell all of that. But it's a different story. Right? So we want to say a special good night to the nurses of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Given all three islands. Carriacou, Petit Martinique, Grenada. And that's what they're saying it now. Petit Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada. That's what they say it. Yeah, they turn the whole thing upside down. That's why everything turning upside down. Right? But we want to say a special good night to the nurses out there. Those who are on duty, those who are off duty. Yeah, because when you open your eyes for the first time, nurses you're seeing. And then when you're closing it for the last time, sometimes it's nurses you're seeing as well. So we have to have a special place in our heart for the nurses and the compassion that they show. All right? 440-7377. That's 440-7377. Folks, I had spoken about the Grenada Development Bank earlier, and you all may wonder as well why I had spoken about the Grenada Development Bank. Let me explain this. From what we know, not what we think, what we know, government ministers, and right now we're hearing is as much as 3 government ministers have received loans from the Grenada Development Bank. Yeah? From the Grenada Development Bank. According to the Grenada Development Bank Act, yeah, according to the act, the law that governs the Grenada Development Bank, it prohibits, so you see here, prohibition. In fact, let me make it a little larger just in case you don't see it proper. Nice. Prohibition related to subloans. The bank shall not make subloans out of the proceeds of the loan to a director of the bank, a member of the legislature of the state of Grenada, or to any company controlled by any such director or member of the legislature, or to the close relatives of any such director or member of the legislature. Let me read that again for those in the back who was probably talking and pelting paper and wasn't listening. Right? Prohibition relating to subloans. The bank shall not make subloans out of the proceeds of the loan. That's in other words, the bank shall not loan. They have a loan to the bank for the bank to be able to give loans to people to do different things. So when they say subloans, they mean loans from the bank that the bank is giving out. The bank has a loan that was taken to create it and so on, and they get monies otherwise from the Caribbean Development Bank and so on that help fund their activities, and they're saying that those monies should not be lent out to the following. The bank shall not make subloans out of the proceeds of the loan to a director of the bank, to a member of the legislature of the state of Grenada, or to any company controlled by any such director or member of the legislature, or to close relatives of any such director or member of the legislature. Yeah? And that is part, let me just prove to you all, this is part of the Grenada Development Bank Act. This is part of the act itself. Yeah? Agriculture Bank, Caribbean Development Bank loan, right? Regulations, that was in relation to the loans that were given to create the bank, and therefore these people are banned. These people, and you see them here under section 5 there, they are prohibited. They are prohibited from getting loans from the bank. But we're hearing, because members of the legislature means parliament. So it means that no member of parliament is supposed to receive a loan from the Grenada Development Bank. Let me repeat. No member of parliament is supposed to receive a loan from the Grenada Development Bank. We know of one for sure who has spoken out and admitted. That's the member of parliament for South St. George, who has said that he received the loan. He applied for the loan before, but he applied for the loan before. The loan was not approved. The loan was not distributed to the individual until after the general elections under a new board of directors that was set up by a cabinet that he is part of. So he is part of the cabinet that choose the directors, and you heard the names of the directors there, because the chairperson is the PRO of the political organization to which he belongs. And he was able to access a loan after elections. Yes, he had loans before, but he was able to access a loan after elections, which ought not to happen, because the law here is very clear. It says to a member of the legislature of the state of Grenada, or to any company controlled by such. So you can't say it's not use the company. The company is bad because you have connections to that company. Is bad from receiving a loan from the Grenada Development Bank as well. But not just them. A director on the board cannot receive a loan. Well, I ain't hear about directors on the board receiving loan. I ain't hear that one yet. Maybe I know. I had to double check that one and find out, next thing you know, directors. I think probably you need to see who get loan and who don't get loan and thing, right? Nice. But it also says, or to close relatives of any such director or member of the legislature. So let me just say, for those who may know or may not know, if you are a member of parliament and your son or daughter has to go and study, and you want to apply to the GDB for the loan, you can't do it. The law is clear. It says you can't get the loan and close relatives can't get the loan. So you can't be going to buy a house in Monjaloo and decide that you're going to use your wife's name at the GDB to get the loan for over $1 million. You can't do that, because it says you can get it, or as we've highlighted here, let me make it big so you could see what I'm talking about, or close relatives of any such director or member of the legislature. So your wife cannot go and get a loan there either. Yeah? You cannot go, your wife cannot go. If you have done so, you have committed an illegal act, because this is a law that is in place within the state of Grenada. Yeah? This is a law that is within the state of Grenada. So you have the, let me just pull it back here. This is the Grenada Development Bank Act, chapter 129. Yeah? So you have the act, you have the different times it was amended here, and so on, and you have the different parts, right? This is how laws generally are, that you have the act and so on. It tells you all the different things that the act does. Now, what we are hearing now, through the report by Linda Straker, right? And when I look at the GAFIN, and GAFIN is the body it overlooks things like, I believe, the credit unions and some of them, so the Grenada Development Bank, it overlooks them. And one of the things that I noticed here is that in their report, same as the journalist has correctly said, yeah, is that in addition, the Grenada Development Bank completed a draft amendment bill. So they're going to change the act. And I'm saying here, they're going to change the act to amend the GDB Act Cap 129. The same law that we've been looking at here, this same law, let me just bring it up here. This same law that we've been looking at, they're saying that they're going to amend that. Yeah? And remember what that has in it, that members of parliament can't get a loan, the family can't get a loan, the business that they have can't get loan from the Grenada Development Bank. They have not discussed this amendment with anybody. They have not said we are about to amend the Grenada Development Bank Act. They have not called in different organizations and said, well, okay, we want you to take a look at this. We are going to amend the law. Because as far as I'm concerned, they could amend the law now and say what was illegal then is legal now, And they could even backdate it and say effective 2021. Remember last night, they want to get people contract effective 2022. And we in 2024. but they want to give those nursing assistants contract dating back to 2022. So what is to stop them from putting a law in place and backdating it, effective date, giving it an effective date before when they start to disperse these loans to the different parliamentarians? What is the reason that the draft has been sent to Parliament? The draft has been sent to Parliament, but the draft has not been put out there so various people could look at it and say, no, you can't change that section. So not Parliament, sorry, let me take that, not Parliament, it's been sent to Cabinet. Why has the draft of the bill been sent to Cabinet? Because when Cabinet look at it and they approve it, and so the next thing to do is go to Parliament with it. So the legal drafters go over it. They say, okay, you want to change that? You want to make it legal now for ministers to get a loan out of the GDP? You say ministers is people too. So if they want a 1.7 million to buy a big house, that is up to them. If they want a 2 point how much million for the business, no problem. Or they want a quarter million or whatever they want for a child to go and study, no problem. Yeah? So if they want to change that within there, you and I will not know until it reaches the Parliament. And they have 10 people in Parliament. So if they decide they're passing it, they're passing it. Yeah? If they decide that they're going to pass that, what are you and I going to do in relation to it as far as they're concerned? Them could only talk, them can't do nothing. That's what they are going to do. So we have this situation, yeah, that and this is the report is there, that they now have within their hands the draft, and I'm saying to them, I'm calling on them tonight to make the draft Grenada Development Bank Act, the draft amendment, make it public. Yeah? Calling on them, make it public, because I want to know if what you all are going to change this draft amendment that's being spoken to in this sentence here on this is page 10 of the Garfin document. Yes, this Garfin document here, the board of directors and all this sort of thing for Garfin. And look who's the chairperson of the board for Garfin now. The chairman of the board for Garfin. The worst police commissioner we've ever had in the history of Grenada. Now the advisor on national security. Yeah? That is the person who's the chairman of the boards. I'd like to know your financial credentials for that particular portfolio. But anyway, maybe you have things I know you have. Right? Nice. Right. But the Garfin report speaks to them changing. One of the things they spoke to is changing the development bank and operating more like a commercial bank. So you could go and deposit money in the as it is right now. You can't do that. Development bank lends out money, and when you deposit in money, it's because you're paying back what you have borrowed from the development bank. Not that you can open an account with the development bank and say, well, okay, I'm going to put $50 inside there and I'm opening an account there and I'll put a little 20 every month. No, that is not what the Grenada Development Bank does. They are saying now they're going to change the law to allow that. I am wondering if they are also going to open it out now to allow everybody, including the members of the legislature, who we know are barred, according to what we've seen there, who are barred, right? Who are barred from accessing the funds under, and I just closed it, yeah. Who are barred from being able to get funds under the Grenada Development Bank. We have to ask ourselves if what they're trying to do is cover themselves. Yeah? Whether I say CYA, I can't say it on there. You know me, I doesn't say them thing on there. But CYA, cover your, So we want to see what the draft legislation says, the amendment. What is being amended in the Grenada Development Bank Act? We want to know what is being amended, and we want to know why it is being amended. What is the reasoning behind amending and changing the development bank, basically changing it into a commercial bank? taking in deposits from different people. Yeah? Having shares at the bank that you sell to different people, so you might be able to have, suppose a group of people come together and they become the majority shareholder and then they control the board of directors and different things like that. As happens with some of the commercial banks, that you have groups of people, or you may have an organization that's not even Grenadian, from outside of Grenada, that may decide, a financier that may decide that they're going to get the majority shares of the Grenada Development Bank, and then they're basically in charge of who gets what or how it operates. So if you're going to do that and create a situation where you're going to have shareholders and so on that level and depositors and so on that level, I think it needs to be explained. Nothing, but I know it needs to be explained to the Grenadian people what is taking place, because the impression I get is all you're trying to cover all your the beast with the long hairs. Yeah? All you're trying to cover. Right? Folks, we open the phone lines 440-7377. Anthony to behave. 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. Hey, good night to you, Alan Jones. Yeah. But the law is clear. The law is clear. No government minister can have no child and decide that you're going in the Grenada Development Bank and get a loan, a scholarship for that child. It says you can get it and close relatives, so your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt, your mother, your father, your children, your grandchildren, none of them can access loans at the Grenada Development Bank. Especially where all you just get salary up to 14,000 now. All you have enough money, man. Or you could go to Republic Bank and make a little talk. They'll help all you out. Or join them. Go down in ACB. Yeah, go down in ACB and thing and make a little talk. Make some deposits and so make an arrangement. You know, talk with ACB or one of them. Or even if you want to go and talk to Cooperative Bank. Yeah? But what has taken place legally is wrong. We know one person has admitted that it happened. And in admitting, they tried to give the impression that, oh, it's the NNP that gave them. You're getting money. Down in October, November 2022. Under a new board. The old board had not approved your loan. A board that you were part of setting up approved the loan. And you can't say you wasn't part of it because you're part of cabinet. And the board, the names for that board had to go through cabinet to be approved. They had to go through cabinet to be approved. And the name at the top as the chairperson of that particular board happens to be the public relation officer of your political organization. That's the chairperson of the board. And you got the loan that you should not have gotten. Because if the members of that board had read the legislation in the same way that we have done so tonight, they would know that you should not get that loan. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello, good night.
Hello.
Hi, good night.
Good night, Brother Sheldon.
Good night, sir.
Yes, how is everything with you down there?
I'm good, man. You go right ahead.
All right. Listen, I find it really strange from what you just read, okay, the law, right, pertaining to the development bank and the persons in parliament who is alleged that receive well really and truly is not alleged, you know. But what can we do? What can we do with reference to this? Can we not file an injunction? Where is the integrity that committee, that body that deals with
the Integrity Commission? The Integrity Commission.
The Integrity Commission. What about that? You see, because think about it. If it was under NNP, what would have happened? You know, the unions would have hit the street. Just name it. Just name the bodies that would be out there to make sure that Kit Mitchell is resigned or step aside. You know, as we had in the past. You know, but it appears to me that They have the license to do anything illegal or anything wrong. They have the license to just behave the way they are behaving. I mean, come on, they are our leaders. They ought to be our examples. You know, as the nurse made reference to, it's nice to have a good 50th anniversary or jubilee celebration. You know, but think about the life and the state or the condition of our citizens, especially the poor and vulnerable ones. You know, who, to me, this government doesn't seem to have any empathy, any good, strong will to help these people, because I mean our lives just keep on deteriorating, just keep on going down. I find it strange. This time, listen, I'm not in encouraging or trying to tell people go out there and demonstrate and just behave lawless. But we have bodies, we have the legal bodies to deal with this thing. But let's press it. Let's get to those bodies. And I know Dr. Mitchell and the team, they are listening. Get out there and do something. It doesn't have to misbehave in any way at all. Just check what you read. That's lawful. Let's deal with it. The churches, I'm not hearing the churches making any noise about nothing. I mean, they're not saying anything. If myself or Pastor Louis or one or two others wouldn't open our mouths and say something in this country, no religious organization or the church would not come out and say anything. I mean, come on, man. It's time. People suffering. Look at Brother Tucky and others down there at the hospital. What they are going through. No medication. Come on, Grenada. Come on, government. Come on. And as people talk the truth and share, give their voice about things, you're ready to ostracize them or castrate them, or or wish them bad. Come on, do something. Have a good night, brother. Have a good night.
Thank you. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. Let me address something here. Every time you speak about an issue where people are suffering in this country, an issue that are directly affecting people, you have these people that are out there that always talking about be fair and be fair and be fair. Yeah? For the entire period of the new National Party being in office, you had people saying the worst things on social media and on directly doing all sorts of things, saying all kind of nasty things out there. They cuss the churches. They cuss the unions. And not like how I might upbraid the union and say straight up that the GUT boss, he is basically an apologist on behalf of the... No, they didn't use nice language like that. The kind of things they said on their programs, I wouldn't repeat here. And I'm not talking about one program, multiple programs they had, saying all sorts of nasty things. All you didn't take the time to tell them that they're not being fair. All you didn't take the time to go and attack them and tell them anything. So when people say what they have to say on a program like this, and they speak the facts in relation to things, don't come and tell us nothing about being fair. Let me just make it clear. If you're not intelligent enough, or the Spirit of God is not upon you, that you know right from wrong, don't come and tell us anything about who fair and who unfair and all this kind of thing. Yeah, I'm just making that clear for a particular individual. They know who they are. Don't play all your calling people and tell people all kind of things. Out of order. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. All they didn't know who fair before and who unfair. When all it was sending down in MoneyGram under various names and in Western Union under various names, all they didn't know what fair. Yeah? And they could call my name as much as they want, me and care. They could call my name as much as they want, because I know what they want is a back and forth. They want to hear what I say, and then they want to get a listenership for themselves. No, that ain't going to happen, right? So we're done with that. 4407377, that's the number to get onto the inside. Let the people know what the GDB amendment says. There's nothing that stops the government from making that document public and putting it out to the general public. Nothing that stops that. Put it out. Let's see if what you all are doing and what you all are attempting to do is to try and protect yourselves from any possible legal consequences from the wrong that has been done. We're not saying allegedly done. The wrong that has been done. The law is clear. You're a member of the legislature. You're not supposed to get anything from the GDB, nor close family members. Your brother, your sister, your auntie, your uncle. Yeah? None of these people are supposed to go to the GDB. Your children are not supposed to go to the GDB. Alright? And under this administration, they're getting paid 2 times what the members under the New National Party used to get paid. Yeah, they're getting paid 2 times that. So they over $10,000 that they are getting as a pay, as a salary on a monthly basis. Yeah, go and face the other financial institution. That were the commercial financial institutions there. Why are they attempting to use the Grenada Development Bank as their piggy bank? Why are they attempting to do that? We're hearing that cabinet ministers using the Grenada Development Bank as the piggy bank. That ought not to be happening. Yeah? Let's get this thing straight. That ought not to be happening. We need to see what the draft legislation says. If you are now going to make what has been illegal, legal, we need to see it. So they need to put that out to the general public. Yeah, we need to see if what is in that is what should be there. You don't even ask people, well, all you want to make the bank a commercial bank? No, but they go on with this nonsense. We have a call online. Good night.
Hello, Sheldon. Good night.
Good night, my dear. Go right ahead.
I would like you to define the word fair and honest for me, please. I have it in my own way. I understand it in my own way, but I want to hear it from you. I would like you to define the word fair and honest for me, please. Thank you. Can you do that?
Well, I'm not the one that calling people unfair and so.
No. I just heard you said. I just heard you say that people talking about unfair. Yeah. So I want you to define the word unfair for me
why is the
and honest for me, please.
Okay, thank
you. Can you?
Okay, thank you. Nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
It is not up to me to define it. I am not the one saying that I am unfair. If they are the ones saying I am unfair, then they need to define it. I don't have to go through the process of defining anything for them. If they are saying that what is taking place on this program is unfair, if they are saying that what we are saying here is not honest, and we're able to prove everything we say, when we tell you what the Garfin document says, we're able to pull the Garfin document, point you to the Garfin document and say, listen, this is the Garfin document. Here it is. We're able to pull it up. We say page 10 has that on it. So we're able to pull up page 10 and we're able to show you where it says what we say it says on page 10. We're able to highlight that. We could put that out and show you what it says. We are also able to pull up the Grenada Development Bank Act. We're able to show you where it says what we say. So if somebody is saying that we are unfair because we speak the truth, that is their business. I don't have to define fair and unfair for anybody. If they are making the statement, they need to define it. Yeah? That's very clear as far as I'm concerned. I don't have to define what is fair and what is unfair. Let them, they are the ones making the accusation. Let them define it. Let them clarify. Let them say where we have put up something that is not true. Let them come and say that, okay, you say that's in the act. That is not the act. This is the act and this is what it says in truth. Let them be able to do that. And this is the year 2024. They could take a phone and they could get something and they could go and do their own thing. We have a call online. Let's go back to the phone line. Hello, good night.
Hi, good night, Sheldon. It's me again.
Yes,
So
Nursey.
I was just informed that there was loads of shipments of medication sitting there in Grenada on the port. So I just wanted confirmation. And if it's true, then we would like to hear from those who have proof. Because I was just told that.
So it's
So
sitting on the
I
port,
know
but
we were told that last year too, and up to now we haven't seen or heard anything. So put your money where your mouth is. I want to see, we want to hear, see proof. Don't just tell me, oh, there's a lot of shipment there. If then that's wrong if you have all this medication just sitting there and people are suffering. So that's even worse than not having.
yeah, but let me ask, who has it there? Was it brought in by the government? Did a specific
That's what I'm
organization bring
hearing.
it in?
I just received a phone call saying that there's lots of medication there, and the program is saying the wrong thing, and speak the truth and all of that stuff. So
Let me
we,
ask.
we just want a little proof. Just show us. If it's there, it's easy to show us the proof.
Let me ask, nurse. Is that person on the island of Grenada at present who made that statement?
And guess what? The answer is no.
Is that person going to Good Hope Medical Center? Are they sitting like our good partner Turkey called us? He could have said we lie. Turkey's on a hospital bed right now. And he called us from the hospital bed. Is the person who called you sitting in the general hospital or lying in the general hospital right now?
Listen, the person is not sitting there, and I'm hearing. Oh, another thing I have to address. People tend to say, oh, NNP was been in office for all these years and they didn't do this or they said this. People not understanding. Grenadians now voted because they heard this is going to happen. They voted for betterment. Okay? So you telling them healthcare is going to be a priority. You telling them you're going to change this and this is going to be different. You come in there. I don't want to hear that NNP been in there even if it's 200 years and they didn't do it. You made a promise to the Grenadian people to change this, to make it different, to make it better. Okay? Up to now I haven't seen that. I'm just asking. Can somebody show me? I'm just asking one.
I just got
one thing.
Nurse, I just got a message from someone who I have a lot of trust in, and they're telling me it's not medication, it's supplies. So it's not medication, it's supplies. So some of the supplies that you're probably hearing, like they do have gauze and they do have this, so supplies. But we have been speaking about medication and supplies.
I didn't speak about supplies. I spoke about medication. So maybe people should listen before calling, and hear what I said. I said medication. I'm not interested about supplies. Supplies does not it does not spare somebody's life. I want things that can make people continue to live, which is medication. That's a priority. Supplies, I don't want to hear about supplies. I call because I'm talking about medication. Okay? That can save lives. I don't want to hear about supplies. Tell me there is medication in there. Tell me there's antibiotic. So that if somebody comes in there with an infection, you have an antibiotic that can save their life. If somebody comes in with infection and you take a gauze and you wrap their head, that's not going to save them. So I want to hear about medication, not gauze and supplies.
Apparently there was a press conference today, so I'll get when I get off, I'll get.
So that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
There was a press conference, and there's all of these things, and that. So I mean.
So why am I?
If that's it, I'm happy. But we just want to see, because to me we heard that before. That last time when there was all of these medication came, and then I don't know what happened. The dog ate it.
All right, Nursey, thank you so very much. All
Okay,
right.
Sheldon,
Enjoy the rest
good
of the
night.
day. All right. Yes, indeed. A 440. Well, no, we're nearly out of time. Wow. Yeah, we're nearly out of time. So I had to find out, because I'm telling you, I know I have met people who coming out from the pharmacy and they don't have medication. So don't give me nothing about it have medication, it's on the port. No. People need the medication. That's the bottom line. People need medication. Yeah? So I'm going to investigate further. We have people calling us from the hospital itself. You're not in Grenada. You're not here. You are not living the reality of what we are going through. So when we say what we are going through, you're out of order and fast to try and tell us that we lying or we're not talking the truth or something. You're out of order. You may have some sort of mental impediment that you need to see a psychologist. Maybe you're not getting your medication. But anyway, folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points for tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. A different Talking Tuesday. Usually on a Talking Tuesdays, we have a guest in with us. But technically we did it because we had Nurse Maguire on with us for quite a while. Speaking about, I know there are a lot of things that some of you may have heard that you did not know. Especially those of you that are on the medication, like the diabetic medication and on the high blood pressure medication. And so because, especially the high blood pressure medication, you're running the risk of heart attack and things damaging your cardiovascular system. So you have to make sure that you're on your medication and so. All right? Because the reality is the reality. Many people have to be contacting their family overseas to send a little change for them to be able to go and buy the medication because they cannot get it otherwise. All right? That's the reality. That is a fact. Speak to the people who are out in the diaspora. It is a fact. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. I'm going to speak about that medication thing tomorrow. I'm going to give you some more information in relation to that. But at the same time, and I said the chairperson of the GDB is the PRO. No, they're not the PRO. They are the treasurer. So the person dealing with the money for the NDC is also the person dealing with the money that coming through GDB. Let me say it again. The person dealing with the money for the NDC, the treasurer, is also the person dealing with the money for the GDB as the chairperson. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you in everything you say and do. Do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you and definitely not about you. My name is Sheldon Scott. I'm out here. You know what? I just feel like playing a tune. Yeah, I know they're going to give me a strike on it, but I feel like playing that tune. Yeah.